Hey everybody, Brent back with another edition of Near Mint Musings. And now, it's time for everybody's favorite game.
What's the grade?
That's right. So here we have ourselves three gorgeous vintage cards representing two of the greatest legends to ever play the game, Roberto Clemente and Henry Hank Aaron. So what I thought I'd do today is, as you can see, I have the grades covered of these three cards represented in front of you. The ones on the left and the right are 1956 Topps Graybacks, and the one in the middle is Roberto Clemente's third Topps card, his 1957 Topps. And what I wanted to present to you today, and there will be a theme as we go along with this guessing game, so to speak. I want you to see how the proverbial adage, buy the card, not the grade, really rings true with these examples. So without further ado, I'm going to start off with the one on the left, the 1956 Topps, Roberto Clemente. So I'm going to hold this in front of the camera, and I'm going to see what you think. So I am definitely of the school of give me soft corners, give me the occasional subtle wrinkle, maybe try to avoid any surface issues, but always strive for a well-centered card. And as you can see here, this is pretty well-centered. So, looking at this card, what do you think the grade would be? Bing! All right, time is up. Let's reveal. This was graded a 2 with a qualifier. MK. Now that's not MK, that's mark. There is a mark on this card, but it isn't on the surface, the front. It's on the back. You can see up by the 33 up there on the top left, there is a ink mark. Looks like the letter F or P, but that's it. So now that we know, let's turn this back around, and you can clearly see that this card really doesn't have any issues on the surface. It's well centered for a 56. It's not perfect, but it has that qualifier. Now we can get into the weeds about qualifiers. Some are of the school or the ilk that if it's got a qualifier, I don't want it. Others are, I don't really care. Some are particular as to what specific qualifier it is. And I will give you my personal opinion on qualifiers here in a moment. But before I do, let's dive into this beautiful 56 Topps Hank Aaron Grayback. Again, I strive for centered. Now, if you look to the right where he's sliding, you can see a crease going from the edge to his belt middle torso area. There is a visible crease there. You can see some surface issues. Some of that's the slab itself, and it's got some soft corners. It's also got a small crease at the bottom left on his uniform. Okay? So, all that being said, again, what do you think this graded as? Bing! All right, let's reveal. Get this painter's tape off in its entirety. All right. So this came back a 1.5. with a mark qualifier. I think you're sensing a trend here. So this is the 1.5. It's got dot right there. It's got some surface, as you can see, but centering is fantastic for this card. And again, that is what I'm always going to strive for. I will pass up other cards. That was a hair. Pass up other cards that might be cheaper, but if they lack that centering. Sorry for the sniffs. I have a bit of allergies. Yes, you can get allergies in the middle of January. So here is the mark on the back. See where it says outfield top? Looks like somebody's initials, TH. I don't know what that is, but that is why it got that qualifier. So we have a 1.5 with a mark qualifier, but a well-centered card. And in my opinion, a great example of this card. All right, last but not least, let's look at this 1957 Topps Roberto Clemente. This is one of my favorite Roberto Clementes in his Topps run, from 55 to 73. Always been a favorite of mine. So let's take a look at this bad boy. First thing you can see is it is well centered, top to bottom. Left to right, it's a little off, but considering it's a 57 Topps, that left to right is still pretty amazing. Surface issues, I'm not seeing much. There's no wrinkles, there's no creases. This is a fantastic looking card. There is a small, you can see it right here up at the top, kind of a blemish right there. Let me back it up in the light there for you. Little ding right there, but that's really about it for this beautiful card. So what do you think the grade is for this 57 Roberto Clemente? Bing! All right, let us reveal. All you sleuths out there probably can figure where this is going. We got ourselves a 2 with a mark qualifier. What? That's right. But the challenge for this one will be a lot harder, because on the back, tell me where you see the mark. Try to move at different angles here for you. Believe it or not, it is at the very top left corner. There's an indentation, if you can see it. It looks like somebody wrote the number 21, assuming that's for Roberto's number. But there is a indentation, or maybe that's 24. Either way, that's your mark right there. So backing it up, very hard to tell. And again, nothing on the front. I'm telling you right now, there were 5s and 6s in this grade, in this card, that didn't look as nice as this. And this was purchased for a fraction of the price it would cost to get a card that presents this well. So I have learned that the old adage of buy the card, not the grade, rings very true. Now, as far as qualifiers go, I don't mind it saying mark if you're going to get cards like these that present this well. Where I'm going to steer clear of is the dreaded OC off center. And I have some vintage cards that I would love to upgrade someday that are deemed OC. Those are the ones I'll steer clear of. But as far as the MK mark qualifier, if I can get cards that look like this, sign me up. So So I would love to hear your thoughts on qualifiers. What are your thoughts on these three beautiful vintage examples? Does marks on the back of cards bother you? I mean, how often do we look at the backs of cards? At least when we display them, correct? If you were to look at these cards without the grades, should that matter when you see the grades with the qualifiers? Love to hear your opinions, your thoughts, your comments. And as always, I appreciate your support. Thank you so much for tagging along. And until the next one, have a good one.